moving my shoulder like this, and I'm like, the amount of times I have to like randomly pop my knee just cause.
Just cause.
Yeah, it's annoying as hell. Like you're laying in bed, you're just laying there, and then like boom, you have to kick like it's just especially if you do like that curl under with the blanket.
Yeah.
And you like try to like seal the blanket to keep the warmth in. And then you gotta like kick your leg, so you have to break the seal, and then you have to try to like reseal it, but now you're slightly cold, so you gotta try to like reseal. It's annoying. Like I'm half asleep. I'm not trying to do all that. Jesus Christ. As if I have to remind the people who are watching the show right now, I do know when the show goes live. This is intentional. This is all intentional. I've given, again, this is the thing. I feel like it's only fair if I give some control over my craziness to Sako. And the only bit of control I'm willing to give up is her control over the button, which she already had. But she gets her control when she pushes the button. So if I'm in the middle of a rant, there you go. That's how we start the show off. Welcome to Sako in the Moon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
First thing we hear is it.
Hey, Jenny.
It's the first thing you hear. My voice should be the first thing you hear. Every day. Every morning. Should be the first thing you hear. You just have a recording of me saying, "Good morning, Jenny. Welcome to the land of the living. I'm glad you're here." And just have that as like your alarm set. Just have that on repeat. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny. Huh?
That would probably put me to sleep because you have a very gentle voice.
I was gonna say, am I boring? Is that the thing? I'm just
no.
You're not boring.
That's why no one watches this show, because my show puts everyone to sleep.
It doesn't put everyone to sleep. You're being funny. Anyway, today we're talking with an author whose names moves between whose work. Let me try this again. Today, we're talking with an author whose work moves between comfort and unease with intention. Kay Parquet, who writes romance and fantasy in long form and horror in sharp, deliberate doses of anthologies. You're very sweet. We're exploring how scale, genre, and boundaries shape a creative life, and how to stay whole while working in the dark.
Oh.
Theme song.
Theme song. The 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 theme song.
I like how I told them I wasn't going to sing because I didn't want to do the theme song. And then I immediately go try to hype up Sako right before the theme song. And I don't sing the same song.
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, I am Sako Toomey, artist and author and a bunch of other things. But we'll just mention that I'm self-published 6 times over. I've been working on my craft for decades. And now I'd like to share my skills with you guys.
I, of course, am Dewan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon, and a pain in Sako's ass. I write things, I film stuff, and I talk to people. And before we talk about our guest, who has one of the coolest names ever, there is a story that I wanted to tell, because today is Friday the 13th. And many, many years ago, and this is a true-to-life story. This is not a fictional thing I made up. Many, many years ago, on Friday the 13th, shortly after joking about it being Friday the 13th. This is while I was working at my job in a gas station. And I won't mention the gas station's name, but it sounds like Speedway because it was. And so we're working, and we have regular customers, as you can assume. You guys probably go to some similar place often enough to where they recognize you. They may not know your name, but they know you when you walk in. we had a really busy day. We had a lot of employees that day for some reason. We had a lot of trainees and people just at our store. It was just one of those tent stores for certain things. We just had like a lot of people on staff that morning. One of our regular customers that came in, and I recognized him because they always wore this Mickey Mouse jacket, right? And I'm cleaning this piece of equipment. And so the equipment's in front of me and the door is right here, like off to my right. So I'm cleaning the equipment, the door opens, I look over, I wave to the guy, I look back at my equipment, and then all of a sudden, there's a thud.
Oh.
Moments had passed, only mere moments. The guy is now on the ground, completely unresponsive. Now, as an assistant manager, my mind is everywhere. 1, is he okay? 2, what happened? 3, as a manager, I have to think like this. Was it our fault? What did we do wrong? He knocked over a wet floor sign. So I'm like, okay, that's slightly good. That means the sign was there. That means if there was something he slipped on, it wasn't our fault, like legally, like a thud, just like that. And so obviously we're immediately trying to check him out. One of the people has a nursing medical assistant background. So they jumped in and they start trying to help. I'm going off to find the store manager and the med kit, because the best thing we're going to have to help is going to be in that med kit as close as we get. At the same time, one of the tree trimming companies was in the parking lot gassing up their fleet. Fortunately, one of the guys on that fleet was a fireman, a former fireman, who was a first responder. He and his uncle, who ran the company, all rushed him. They took over for us, and they were giving him all of the assistance. Now all the medical stuff is in their hands. I can start handling the business of things. Obviously, my manager calls 911. I go to try to get a name, because obviously the ambulance is going to want to know names. So we find keys, and I go into his car, and I'm like, all right, where am I going to find this guy's name? Insurance, registration. Let's go to the car. So I go into the glove box. I'm looking for registration. I'm trying to find registration. We're going through his phone. We're trying to contact something that says wife, son, daughter, something. And we're trying to get a hold of family. Ambulance comes. They take him away. We get a hold of the wife. We're like, hey, I need to know where he's going. So when his wife contacts us, we can tell him. We get a hold of the wife. There's a whole bunch of things. The guy dies on the floor. Don't worry. It's okay. They were able to revive him eventually. I wouldn't do you guys like that. Come on. Give me something. I wouldn't just throw that on you guys. Like, that's not there's way too much story. But he did have like a 5% chance. It's 5% chance of survival. I am happy to say that even though that was like maybe 9 years ago, he is alive today. He is fully healthy. He is back to normal. He was able to gain all of his memory back. He was in a coma for about a week.
Whoa.
Ironically, I was in the hospital visiting my dad, who had a minor procedure, just a really minor procedure. He just needed to get done on his arm. And I get a phone call while I'm there. And it's my manager. She's like, hey, I just heard from the guy's family. I'm like, oh, cool. It's like, yeah, he's awake now. I'm like, great. That's fantastic. And he's at the hospital, such and such hospital locally. I'm like,
I'm there right now.
Where is he? He's like, yeah, he's at so-and-so hospital. I'm like, I'm on the 5th floor, like right now of that hospital. Cool. See if I can come visit. Give me like a room number or floor or some shit. I'm gonna go down to the gift shop and I'll get a gift on behalf of everyone at the store. And I walked in and he recognized me, which, given everything that happened to him, they were like, you're one of the first people he's recognized since he woke up. And needless to say, there's been a bond there since then. This was a very traumatic experience for all of us, probably more him than myself. But I invited him to my wedding, because how do you not? I was getting married at the time. How do you not invite somebody to your wedding? So I remember that happened in 2015. I can remember that now. And so yeah, like we all joke about how like we fear bad things happening on Friday the 13th. I had a story, and that's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened on Friday the 13th. Now I'll tell you, as a horror writer, nothing stuck out more in my head than like the rug, like that rug right as you walk into a gas station where people wipe their feet that was blood stained, and that rug sat there for a minute. And I'm like, guys, we got to do something about this. I can't come to work and keep remembering where this happened. So we didn't have a rug there for the longest time, and that was kind of worse. And I throw this out there for the writers and such, like, keep in mind, sure, having a bloodstained rug outside the, like right there in the opening, that's going to create some fear, some terror, and some worry. Having being the only location that doesn't have one, and there being a wondering why, a mystery as to why that rug isn't there, almost just as powerful, if not more. Sometimes less is more, and you can do a lot with that. Ta-da!
Here.
There's my story.
Ta-da!
And I magically turned into writing advice. I didn't even see that one coming myself.
As a former medical professional, I'm very glad you were there for him.
Thank you. It was, like I said, I wasn't able to do much. I was mostly there to assist in whoever else was there to do the actual work. And like, they're like, I needed this, I needed that. I got you. I'm going to focus on you and helping him until someone else can come replace me that's better at it. So we were all able to respond very quickly. And he is, actually, I haven't even bothered to check, but I'm sure he's posted something on Facebook today. As a matter of fact, I'm quite certain he has.
I need to let my cat out of this room.
You go ahead and do that, and I will talk to the guest with the coolest name. Hello. This is the first time we've actually met. This is the first time me and Kay have met. Kay Parquet. How is that not like the coolest name ever?
Why do you think I picked it as a pen name?
Exactly. What made you think of that?
Well,
fair.
Kay is my nickname.
Fair.
And Parquet is my married name. So I was like, it rhymes. It's easy to put on the package, and people are going to remember it because
it's even better than rhymes because it's not even like the obvious of pairings. Like it sounds like you would spell parquet differently, like almost like you're a tub of butter. Like remember parquet butter? Like, but thank you for not going that route because it's almost too obvious. It's almost like too easy. It's like, I know how that's pronounced. I see what she did there. Yeah, that's the coolest name.
You wouldn't believe how many people mispronounce it. And that's,
yes, I would.
You know, whatever.
As a wrestling fan, as many people who pronounce the name, I probably shouldn't mention this name, but I'm gonna. As many people as mispronounce the name Benoit, and just say Benoit. I'm just like, come on now. Also, I'm from Kentucky, so we have Versailles, Kentucky. French people hate us for that.
Versailles, yeah.
It is Versailles. It's pronounced in French as Versailles, but we don't say Versailles. Don't go to Versailles, Kentucky and call it Versailles. The locals will do exactly what you think the locals would do. Actually, you can't even go to Louisville and call it Louisville, which is technically what it would be. Apparently, Kentucky has a thing against the French. I don't know what it is. We were named after a French king, and so it was King Louis the 16th that helped the Americans in the Revolutionary War, Civil War, Revolutionary War. Which one are you part of? Revolutionary War, because then the French Revolution came after that. Yeah, so it was King Louis the 16th, and we named the city after him, essentially, and we were Louisville, Virginia. Technically, the city was founded before the state separated. So we were Louisville, and we have to call it Louisville because we're Kentuckians. This is what we do. But yeah, if you ever come to Louisville, Kentucky, it's Louisville, not Louisville. I won't correct you either way. Just don't call it Louisville.
So.
Louisville will kick you out and send you across the river to Indiana. I was trying to drag on for like another 10 seconds, but because Sako told me I had 15. I got the first 15 minutes, and I didn't have 15 minutes worth of material. So I'm literally saying this just to fill 15 minutes.
You schmuck. All right. Kay, darling, is there an intro that maybe I didn't mention, or would you like to introduce yourself or anything?
Not really.
Okay.
You
All
did a
right.
good
That
job,
is what.
so.
All right. Thank you. I have a bunch of questions that I would love to ask you. And let's start with your fantasy romance worlds are warm and comforting, while your horror shorts tap into unease and dread. If those two versions of you, Cozy K and Horror K, were forced to co-write a single scene, what would they argue about the most?
I would have to say they would argue the most about how much, like you said, I write unease and dread. Dread is one of my favorite things to write. So,
and you do so well with it. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, that would probably be one of the things we'd argue about the most because, cozy and dread don't really go together very much. So
I think they qualify as opposites.
Yeah, just a little. Just a little.
Though there is a new genre forming called cozy horror that is almost entirely dread.
Ooh. I will have to look that up.
I have heard bits and pieces about this. Yeah, it's kind of like this. There's the people who are kind of like loving the soft, cute, fun stories, but don't mind a little bit of the drama being terrifying.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a bond. I think it's playing off that bond that two people can have when they're scared together.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess like if you were to magically find yourself locked in a room with a complete stranger, but you had to work together to get out of said room, regardless of why you guys were there. There's something about that trauma bonding that you guys would go through. And I think that's kind of where they're leaning with the cozy horror. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
We'll have to dig deeper into that maybe next season or season after.
If you do, I will definitely want to watch that because now I'm going to have to look it up. I did not realize there was a cozy horror genre coming about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I've only heard it from writers. I haven't heard it from like books that I found at the bookstore or anything like that. So
I forget where I've heard it, but I know I can back her up. Like that's definitely a thing. That
I'll have to look it up. That would be right up my alley.
So in your burnout and insomnia writing, you describe states where reality feels slightly distorted. Have you ever taken a moment of sleep deprivation and thought, this would make an excellent horror creature? And if so, what did it look like?
Oh, let's see. So I can't watch horror movies, Moon. If you didn't know that, I don't know. But anyway, I can't watch horror movies. They terrify the crap out of me.
That saddens me, but also kind of thrills me at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I love, however, I was talking, I will mention it later, but there is an anime that I really love that's a horror anime. I can watch anime like that all day. But anyway, so a horror creature. You'd probably be something very shadowy and in the depths of like something.
Eldritch, maybe.
Eldritch, Lovecraftian type deal. I love Lovecraft. Oh my gosh, I love Lovecraftian. But anyway, Pinhead, stuff like that. So I have had a couple of sleep deprived nights where I've written. In fact, I'd probably say my latest, the one that I showed you, was probably half written, half asleep in the middle of the night. So I tend to, in the middle of the night, I only have this one light that I turn on and it casts a lot of shadows in here and, a bunch of other stuff. So it kind of sets the mood for doing that. And then I light some candles and really get into it. But yeah, I would think probably something pinheady, eldritch, shadowy, something. But you're not quite sure what it is.
I have a question.
I like
what?
I like this that kind of monster where you can see it out of the corner of your eye, but once you look at it, it's gone.
Uh-huh.
He's one of those.
So I'm learning a lot because we have just met, and so this thing with the insomnia, and I know how if I'm either super super tired and can't fall asleep, or maybe have suddenly woken up, so I'm kind of still in that half dream state.
Hypnagogic. Yeah.
Yeah, does that play into one of the reasons why you can't watch horror? Because those kind of things stick into that frame. Because I know, like for me, like horror can stick to like in your brain. Certain imagery or events can just hang out there, and if you're so tired you can't separate reality and dream state, that can have like a deep dread, panicky thing. Does that influence your stepping away from horror movies? Because obviously horror and dread is what you do in a sense. So what keeps you from horror film?
I have a very vivid imagination. So it's like, because I don't know if you've heard other writers say this. I have, but I don't know if you've heard other writers say this, but I don't think in words. I think in pictures and movies and stuff like that through my head, and then I just write what I see, if that makes sense.
I say that.
Yeah. So, well, good. Then you know what I mean.
I do.
But yeah, I have a very vivid imagination. So I'll come away from a horror movie like, what was one we watched? The last one I watched, I think, was one of the Saw movies.
Oh wow.
And, yeah.
Gore porn. Yeah.
I come away from those things and I just have so much of it stuck up there, and it's like I can't sleep. I have nightmares. You know, it just really sticks up there for me.
There was one movie, only really one, that has stuck with me so deeply after watching it, and it was The Strangers. Not chapters 1, 2, or 3, just The Strangers, the first one, with Liv Tyler. And I saw it in theaters, and to tell you how much it impacted me and my girlfriend at the time, I immediately said, I will never watch this movie in my own house because I don't want to associate that fear with my home. And then my girlfriend, very nonviolent person, was like, she immediately wanted to go get a gun. Like before we left the theater, she was wanting to get a gun. Because the beautiful thing about The Strangers is there's no supernatural creature, there's no spell cast, so it's kind of in that cabin in the woodsy vibe and energy, but you don't have the ghosts, the goblins, the haunted book. You just have, I'm in isolation and someone has chosen to terrorize me, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's 3 of them, 2 of us, and we are surrounded. We are so deeply outnumbered, and there's so much dread that goes through that particular movie. I love The Strangers so much, but again, I could not watch it at home. One time I chose to do so. The first time I chose to do so, I had to have another movie to watch afterwards. So after watching The Strangers, we watched 10 Things I Hate About You, and
palate cleanser. Yeah.
And that was the way I was like, if my lasting image in my brain before I go lay down, it's going to be 10 Things I Hate About You.
You know what's funny is yesterday we got into a talk about needing a palate cleanser after a really emotional or really bad book. And what book do you read after that to kind of like, you know, reset yourself? And my book was The Never Ending Story by Michael Ende. And it made me wonder, like, do other people have, like, other horror readers have palate cleanser books? Or
Kay, do you have a palate cleanser? Like when you've either dealt with something traumatic or maybe you've written a really dreadful scene and that kind of sits with you. Do you have something that you either do, watch, say, read, that listen to, that kind of resets resets the mood for you?
So I don't really read horror. In fact, I don't really read a lot, to be honest with you. I do read. I just don't read as much as a lot of people think a writer should read.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm the same way. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I do consume quite a bit of manga, graphic novels, stuff like that.
All
So,
that counts. All that
yeah.
counts, people. Quit telling your kids that doesn't count. Quit telling your kids that graphic novels don't count as reading. Quit telling your kids that comic books don't count as reading. Because you know who made comic books? You know who read comic books? Everyone who's involved in Marvel. And those people are rich as hell right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, imagine if those parents told them that they couldn't read Captain America and couldn't read Iron Man comics or Black Panther comics. They'd be broke. They'd be me. You don't want your kids to be me.
I do have a palate cleanser. It's just that the palate cleansers can be different depending on what it was that I was watching or reading. And usually I tend to read a lot of psychological thrillers.
Okay.
So that's kind of where my writing dovetails from a little bit too. But after I read those psychological thrillers, I tend to go for little cutesy, things that it doesn't really matter. I read everything. If it's on a bookshelf, I've probably read that genre, but I tend to lean towards the cutesy little things after something like that to kind of, like you said, reset the brain.
After I wrote Contingency Plan, Girl's Adventure Through the Zombie Apocalypse, I felt like a horrible human being, and I needed a palate cleanser project, so I started a fairy tale, which I'm almost done with. So I'm, like creatively, I am conscious of palate cleanser projects.
And if you are out there watching the show, if you know what we're talking about as far as a palate cleanser is concerned, what is your palate cleanser? Is it a show that you watch? Is it a video or a genre, something you read? What's your palate cleanser? Tell us in the comments.
Was nice.
Yeah, the Silent Voice is an anime that I needed a palate cleanser afterward, and My Neighbor Totoro had to reset. Yep.
That's
Studio Ghibli. Yeah.
Yep. Studio Ghibli is awesome. I could watch that stuff all the time. I could watch it over and over and over again. But yeah.
I think stand-up comedy would qualify as a palate cleanser for me. I love watching
it. It is definitely a palate cleanser.
It is.
Yeah. Also gaming streams, especially gaming streams where they shit on each other all the time. Pardon my language. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can cuss here. It's fine.
Yeah, we're not monetized. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Even if we were, I have a hard time not.
Yeah. One of my
Taylor
favorite
Tomlinson.
Streams. Sorry, go ahead.
I love Taylor Tomlinson. That's just my comedian.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah.
She's the background on my computer right now. Beautiful.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's pretty good. Sorry, go ahead.
Fantasy romance often treats magic as a gift. Horror often treats it as a curse. What is one magical ability you'd never allow a character to have because it would instantly turn the story into a horror plot?
Mind control.
Ooh.
Great answer.
Great answer.
Either way. So, did you ever watch the show Heroes?
Yeah.
Do you remember the lady that had mind control and what she did with it? And she fucked with everybody that she could. It's just, yeah, that's one of those things.
I did that in Hope's Chest where mind control was used, and it's part of the midpoint. Right? So, yeah.
I didn't watch Heroes, but I watched The Umbrella Academy. And, the rumor powers were it's the same thing. Are you familiar? Because otherwise I'm just
I know what it is, but I never really watched it. Yeah.
So the woman who had the powers of rumor, if she wanted you to bang your head on a wall, she's like, I heard a rumor you wanted to bang your head on a wall. And then you would turn around and bang your head on the wall. Or I heard a rumor you wanted to let us go. and then you would let them go. So that kind of, so mind control is, I almost feel like it's almost one of those superpowers. It's like a cheat.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like a cheating power.
yeah.
The power of mind reading. That's the worst. That's worse than mind control because you control the narrative and your victim is completely unaware.
If they're not self-aware enough, that is. Yeah.
I would think
Actually,
that that's a really
I
interesting
find
conversation. That's a really interesting conversation. Would be more easier to take advantage of, or like a stronger power, mind control or mind reading. Because if you know what the person's thinking, you can manipulate. Like a high stakes poker game. Someone, a friend of ours, is writing a story containing a high stakes poker game, and imagine mind control. You could tell somebody to fold when you know they have the winning hand, but mind reading, you can manipulate the game because you know how everyone's trying to play. And sometimes I use this reference because it's in my favorite book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's the part of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy where our band of friends meet mice, and it turns out the mice are the hyper intelligent beings that are more intelligent than anyone else. It goes mice, dolphins, humans, and Earth was a computer, and the mice were conducting the experiment. And the main character, Arthur, is like, hey, we were like, the mice were like, we were doing experiments on humans, and the humans were like, no, we were doing experiments on you. You got that backwards. It's like, no, it was us doing experiments on you. How best to control your outcomes and your data by purposely running the wrong way or purposely grabbing the wrong piece of cheese. It's like clearly we were in control, and we manipulated what you found out by doing what we wanted to create that.
you can use your victim fears against them, and then others will assume they are just going crazy.
That's fair. Like that's a very deep conversation. I don't think anyone's actually had that like full on debate, and I would love to see it. Actually, I'd love to like moderate that conversation. I'd love to be the guy. I tell you, I write stuff, I film stuff, and I talk to people. I really like talking to people. I think that's a really interesting conversation. The differences and the impacts of mind reading versus mind control.
Yeah, that would be an interesting conversation.
Versus mind control.
Let's book it.
I am on it. If your short stories had to be adapted into fairy tale bedtime story for a child, what would be the one detail you absolutely refuse to soften?
I would say that what I would probably refuse to soften would be I don't know how to explain it. My husband says to me all the time, "You're a writer, you have words." I'm like,
no, this is why we have beta readers and developmental editors.
Probably one of the things I would refuse to soften would be how scary the dark can be. I mean, I don't.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid of the dark? Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily that scary, but we can't see in the dark very well. We can't. Our minds play tricks on us.
My dark vision is garbage. Yeah.
So
you see me every week.
I love that. It's awesome.
No, but it's Are You Afraid of the Dark is probably the most quintessential it's a quintessential fear and question, because ultimately what most people fear, and this sort of manifests in other aspects of life and society, we are all afraid of the unknown. We are afraid of people we don't know, places we don't know, events we don't know. A lot of people, if we're going to the doctor to get a test result, but we don't, like, they call us and say, hey, can you stop by the office? We're terrified because we just don't know what they're going to say. They don't know. We don't have no idea what they're going to tell us. It could be like, hey, you want a prize? We don't know. It's the unknown is what terrifies literally everyone. To what degree varies, but everyone's afraid of the unknown. And I think that are you afraid of the dark mindset manifests all of that. And I think if, like, to go along with what you said, that's the one thing that should never be softened, because there's nothing unifies people more than a common fear of the unknown.
Exactly. Yeah.
All that was just back up what you said. So people don't forget that I'm on the show too.
Many authors talk about muses, but you write about burnout and creative exhaustion. If burnout itself were a character in one of your horror shorts, how would it stalk its victim?
Quietly.
Ooh.
Very quietly. If it even shows up at all, until it's just it's bam in your face. Yeah. Because burnout is sneaky. It's a sneaky ninja, and it'll come in and rip your world apart if you're not careful about it. So I would definitely say it would be quietly.
Are you afraid of the heights or the sudden stop when you hit the
The
bottom?
sudden stop is what's scary.
Yeah.
I probably won't notice the sudden stop.
Probably not.
For reasons. But just, I feel like it bears notation. What does burnout look like for you? Because burnout is the thing that we all experience, I think, in the creative field, but I think it varies from person to person. I think that's one of the reasons why we don't recognize burnout in ourselves. We may have seen it in someone else, and our burnout doesn't look like that, so we don't recognize it. So if you don't mind sharing, what does burnout look like to you?
It can look like so many things, because like you said, it's different for everybody. I didn't really recognize that I was in burnout until I saw my husband in burnout. And then it was like, it was hard to unsee, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So once I saw it in him, and I was like, holy shit. And then I saw it in myself. Now it's like I can't unsee it anywhere, because I run into people all the time that are like, I'm so tired. I can't get my creative juices going. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired. I mean, tired is a big one. And people push themselves, and they don't realize that they are sliding down that slope until they hit the bottom. And then when they hit that bottom, there's no ladder to get them out, because they don't know how to get themselves out. So you have to, Becca Syme, I think, has a really good book out called Writer, Are You in Burnout? Definitely recommend reading it, even if you think you're not in burnout. It's an excellent book. And she explains, and I love this explanation, you are basically running your gas tank on empty until it is a pitted, burned out hole. And trying to build your ladder to get out of there is very slow, but you can do it. It's just very slow and very hard. So for those of us that are in burnout and we don't realize it till we hit rock bottom, it's difficult to come out of it. And a lot of people don't realize that when you hit that, it's not I'll just go get 10 hours of sleep and I'll be fine. No, I'm sorry. It's not like that, honey. So it can sometimes take years. And people don't realize that.
A follow-up, if I may.
Yeah.
Let's assume someone's watching this show right now, and they're absolutely in love with your glasses, because I am. And they're realizing, as we're talking about it, that they themselves are right now in the midst of burnout. While I know it's hard to give advice on such things as non-professionals, as a creative who's experienced it, what advice would you give someone if they realize right now they're going through burnout? What would be something you'd say to them?
Therapy. Absolutely therapy. Because you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. There's just no way. At least not completely. So I would definitely say go to therapy. Recognize that you're in burnout. Don't deny it, because the more you deny it, the deeper you get. Also recognize that you have to be graceful with yourself, because if you're hard on yourself and you keep pushing, you're just going to go further and further in, and it's going to get harder and harder to come out.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. I think there's going to be a lot. That's very, very helpful. One of the things that we talk about, we talk to really cool people, and we watch really weird movies about evil bongs, and still recovering.
Still recovering. And
Ollie,
I
love
started
you.
the second one.
Ollie, I love you, but that movie was wild. I digress. We talk to really cool people. We share really fun books and really cool movies, and we make a lot of jokes. But in the grand scheme of things, the ultimate purpose and origin of this show is to help others, particularly those in the independent spaces, to do the things, to be the wearer of hats and the doer of things, and be able to get through all that process. And I think that this is one of those things that doesn't get discussed as much. I think we're talking about it more and more nowadays. But I love that our show still is a resource, even to this degree, for that level, the mental health of the creative. And I appreciate your acknowledgement of the burnout. That burnout happens for people, and the advice that you gave, which I think is fantastic advice. I want to thank you for that.
Burnout is the worst horror story out there. As an author, I would say it's when your creative well is so droughted that your brain is just screaming to heal, and you are paralyzed until you heal. And yes, you hit the nail on the head.
How dope is the word droughted, by the way? Just side note.
As a
word, just a word in general. That's just a really dope ass word.
It sounds like it's used as a verb, and I think it's awesome. Well,
I think Brett is right. Sorry, I just want to say one thing. I think Brett is especially right in that you are paralyzed until you heal, because that's where people start to push themselves when they're like, you know what, I can do this. I just have to buckle down. I just have to push myself, and I'm just going to push myself right through it. No, you're not, sweetheart. No, you're not.
And I think there's a lot and depending on where everyone's watching our shows from, at least a culture from where I'm from, there's a huge deal of just grit your teeth and go. There's that mindset we have to just grit our teeth and go. Yeah, it's like, no. You're not allowed to be tough. You're not allowed. You're just tough. You're just gotta be strong. You can sleep when you die. Like, just go. Just drop your head and go. Push. It's like, yo, like when we're trying to build the railroad system across the nation, maybe that was the gig. We're not there anymore. It's 2026. I'm gonna take a nap. Like, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna go touch grass. I'm gonna eat a sandwich. It's okay. Like, if I could give any advice to anyone, if anyone draws anything out of the dumb shit I say on this show, periodically, like, I get it. You want to put a book out. You want to make a movie. That's fine. But take a break. Oh, can I work all the way through? No, you don't. That is an old way of thinking that didn't work for them. It didn't work for the generation before them. It didn't really work for the generation before them. They just didn't want to admit that they were suffering. I want to break that cycle for my family. I want to break that cycle for my friends. I want to break that cycle for our generation and the generations to follow. And if the generations ahead want to take a hint, feel free to join us. But you're allowed to take a nap. You're allowed to eat that sandwich and take a break. You can take more than one break. Work culture tells you take 2 breaks and a lunch in the course of 8 hours. Fuck it. If you're hungry, eat. If you're thirsty, drink. And then drink again, because you probably are more thirsty than you think you are. Take a nap. You're more tired than you are. Take care of your body. It's the only one you got. Trust me, I'm 40 and I regret a lot of things. I took an antacid before the show started. Like, it's like that. Just take a break, take care of your body, and you're going to be able to do more work longer. You're going to have better quality work. You're gonna love
Empty
yourself
out your
more.
head.
You're gonna have
Yeah.
more. It's just better. Take care of yourself, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. And just because he or she is cute, excuse me, just because she, he, or they are cute, doesn't mean you got to spend all your time fucking with them. Take some time for yourself. You ain't got to do everything that they say. Life is short. Enjoy the motherfucker.
Self-care
Oh.
is not selfish.
No, it's not. And sometimes, even if some shit is selfish, it's okay to be selfish from time to time.
Exactly.
Because if you can't take care of your damn self, the fuck
How
you
you
going to take care of somebody else?
Yeah, oxygen mask first and all that jazz. Yeah,
They say it on every flight. Say it on every flight. Put your mask on first before you help anybody else. Because if you pass out, the fuck are you going to help that guy out? Like, how are you going to help him? It's like,
exactly.
I can help you, sir.
Okay, I have a surprise.
Uh-oh.
In that I have 4, because the 5th one we just went into quite deeply. 4 rapid fire questions. And I want the first thought that comes to your head. So I'm just going to fire them off and we're going to plow through it. Yep. So, short stories or novels?
Short stories.
Ooh. Well, comfort reads or discomfort reads?
Discomfort.
Subtle dread or emotional gut punch?
Emotional gut punch.
Writing under a deadline or writing on your own timeline?
Oh, writing on my fucking own time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm learning that. It's taking a couple of years, but it's working. So, do you have anything you'd like to promote?
Yes, Nick is in the comments. I'm sure she'd like to help me. But Two of Crones has a secret that came out today. We have an anthology coming out with the 7 Deadly Sins. And it is pretty dope.
What?
Yeah, Nick.
A secret was revealed today?
A secret was revealed today. Go to the Two of Crones Instagram and you will start getting blasted. And yes, Nick, we can be twins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I would promote that, especially, mostly because, you know, I'm kind of a little biased. And then I would absolutely promote my romance books as well. But this isn't about romance books.
So in case someone hasn't rushed to Instagram and found it already, what is the secret that's been revealed? I mean, it's public now. I'm sure you can actually say what it is.
It is called the 7 Deadly Sins that we're doing. I don't know if the book is called 7 Deadly Sins, but it's basically 7 of us that were given a sin and told to write about it.
And this is all just like an anthology of 7 different writers come together?
Yep, pretty much. And the limit to the story was 10,000 words. So this is going to be a chunky anthology book.
But not so bad, because it's just, I feel like it's just, I mean, if 10,000 words, 7 writers, it's 70,000 words. That's not so bad.
300 pages.
For an anthology.
I mean, but it's just
a little chunky.
I feel like this is a terrible book series to bring up in this moment, but I'm going to anyway. So there is a book series called the Uncle John's Bathroom Readers.
Yes.
And so there's this old idea that like people would take reading material to the bathroom when they would go. And depending on how long they anticipated in being in there, they'd have either short, medium, or long things to read, magazines or books. You know, it's kind of the example. So the book series, the books are about that thick, but they're filled of a bunch of little short things to read about, some longer stories to read about, some things in the middle. And that's what I think about when I have like any kind of anthology of any sort. It's like, this is a book of multiple different authors, which means there's different styles, different ideas. Certain themes are interpreted differently. And I think each individual story being approximately 10,000 words, it's pretty fair size. So you can get a good bit of that author's like thought process and a lot of their style out of that. I don't think that would be a hard sell. So I think everyone should not associated with bathroom humor because that's just what the books are called. It's just what the books are called. But you should absolutely like look into not only this anthology but the other anthologies from Two of Crones and learn and meet some new writers. It's a dope name, cool glasses.
I was pointing at Sako.
I don't. On my screen, we're never actually pointing at anywhere.
Sako.
We'll see. Like I see you, or you're here to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I think when it
I'm
goes on
there.
air, I think you're going to be here. But it looks like this, but it doesn't look like this. It's weird. It's weird. It's backwards, but not backwards, but forward, but sideways. I don't know.
Yeah.
Life is weird.
Yeah, I highly recommend looking at the anthologies from Two of Crones because there's Beltane, there's the Bog Hag. The Bog Hag one was really fun for me.
Yeah, me too.
Beltane was too, but that was more fantasy than it was horror. So and then
Krampus.
Krampus was really fun too.
Yeah, Hush Little Baby.
Hush Little Baby.
Hush Little Baby was definitely a good one. And then this one, my sin was gluttony, but it's not traditional gluttony.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I love about anthologies. I have a lot of friends who are either a part of or put on a bunch of anthologies, and I love this about it because it's like when there's a generalizing theme, you get to say like, all right, here's gluttony. If I presented gluttony to a regular person, this is what they would think. How do I subvert that? And I think there's so much magic you can do in a space like that. I absolutely love it. I love anthologies. I have so many anthologies. It's ridiculous in that guy. Actually, they're over there now. I forgot I took them all out. There's a whole bookshelf right there.
Yes, we do, Nick. We really do.
Yeah, it's quite wonderful.
It's like a nice little brain break, if that makes sense, from writing the romance to, it's a nice little brain break, and it widens my horizons, my writing chops. And so that really, I love doing them. But anyway, sorry, you were starting to talk.
Nope, that's fine. I was going to say, if you were to recommend a movie for us to review, what would you recommend? But you don't watch horror.
Well, you don't generally watch horror. I think you've seen a couple here and there, right? Have you heard of some that you're interested in? Is there one that like draws any kind of like?
I Saw the Devil.
Anything?
I Saw the Devil is technically a Korean thriller, but it has some horror elements, and I think you'd like it. But
I remember what that one Korean show is that I watched that was a horror. It was a live action.
Games.
Yeah.
But I would
Squid Game
because I said like I watch a lot of manga and stuff and a lot of graphic novels. I don't really have any movies or TV shows that I recommend because I don't really watch a lot of TV or movies. So one manga I would definitely recommend though that's a horror manga is called Maruku-chan. And if you look up Maruku-chan, you're gonna find a cutesy one and a horror one. So you have to make sure you find the right one. But
if you can just randomly spell that, I would be impressed. If the average person can just randomly spell it.
I think
Maruku-chan.
Because I did not study it.
Yeah, it's Mieruko -chan. It's not the other one, which is a cutesy little slice of life thing. So, but I frickin' love that anime. I wish they'd make more seasons out of it because the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is so creepy. But then the way they did it, it was like, oh my God, I actually really like this. And my husband was like, seriously? Because you don't watch horror. So
it is a multi-genre anthology.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty much what Two of Crones does. Yeah. So
Nick and Sarah are awesome to work with. They really are.
I don't think I've had the opportunity of formally meeting Sarah.
Sarah's awesome.
So I've heard.
Yeah, she's fun. We let the authors run with their theme of their own genres. Our job is just to set the theme. So we let everyone else run with it. We put in warnings if they're graphic stories so folks can skip if sensitive. Yeah. Y'all, I'm blushing.
You should be blushing because you're awesome.
Okay, so Kay Parquet reminds us that horror and comfort aren't opposites, they're neighboring rooms. Whether she's writing connection in long form or dread in short bursts, the through line is care, control, and emotional honesty. However you find her work, it leaves a mark, and that's the sign of a storyteller who knows exactly what they're doing.
Aw, now it's my turn to blush.
That's it for today's episode of Sako in the Moon Horror Podcast. Thank you for joining us as we explore the strange, the dark, and the creatively terrifying. Remember, stay bold, stir fear, and keep the shadows near. Later, folks.